Good day, everyone. My name is Salaudin Nawawakemi, and you're welcome to the Mshel Spotlight Show. I'm your host for today. And with me today are two important guests of mine, and they can introduce themselves.
My name is Patumbi Olawale. I'm a design architect. I work with Mshel Construction. Thank you so much for having me on this show.
You're welcome, Mr. Lawali.
My name is Enobong Benson. I'm a design manager at Mshel Construction. Thank you for having me.
You're welcome, Mr. Enoboin. Today we'll be discussing how home designs improve living experience. This topic is quite an interesting one because we'll be looking at how your space affects your life generally. To give a clear insight to our audience, I would like you to tell us what does good home design mean to you and where do you come in as an architect?
Okay, first, I would like to explain that a good home design is safe, it's comfortable, and give a sense of well-being. And I also like to tell you that home design doesn't necessarily mean that you are at home. It could be a commercial space or a residential space, even in an office. It just, at that point in time, it is how that particular space communicates to you. That's what makes it a good home design. You can be in an office space and very uncomfortable, and be at home and comfortable, and also reverse is the case.
I think that is very true because at work, I feel in a good office space, a well designed office space, you tend to think more. You bring your ideas to life because you feel comfortable. Your mental health seems settled there. But do you think a lot of people understand how this their space shapes their lifestyle, shapes their own health? And do they understand how it affects their day to day activity?
No, I don't think a lot of people understand that a space can actually affect their day-to-day thinking, and I don't think that they know that it affects even their lifestyle. Less because most of the choices that people make are based on what they see visually, but they don't tend to meet the right people, right professionals to advise them on the right particular design that fits their personality.
So I want to believe that a good home space can be psychological. Is that
Exactly.
it? Oh,
Yes.
that is actually true because in a safe space, in a very calm space, there's a way your mind feels. You feel calmer. You feel well put together. Even in fact, you might sleep better in a better space. So thinking about it in a psychological way, how does good home design affect mental health, someone's activity, mood, and everything that is exactly not very physical in their lifestyle?
Okay.
Architect Olawale.
All right. Thank you so much for that insightful question. And everyone needs shelter. And one of the basic needs of man is to find a space where he can find rest, he can find comfort. But you also have to pay attention to the functionality of your space and how it affects your mood as a person, how it affects your lifestyle as a person. There are so many people who are struggling because without them knowing their spaces affects their responses, affects their approach to life. And of course, every space is defined by what the function for which the space was created for. And psychologically, without you knowing, there are so many things about the home or your space that affects your mood, your thinking. There's something we call neuroarchitecture that has to do with psychology of things, psychology of the space of architecture, and talking about your your painting, talking about your furniture arrangements, talking about your spatial arrangement generally, and it really affects who you are. It affects your lifestyle and what you think about, basically. So it's a lot of things, but I believe we'll talk more on that as we progress.
That is interesting. You mentioned few elements of design while answering the question. We talked about lighting, we talked about color, even the layouts. Because when a lot of people want to rent a space or even buy their own home, a lot of people look at the space and how much space it has for to accommodate what they want to do with that home. So, which of that element of design do you think have the biggest impact on how we feel in a space?
Um, I would say that everything is important. There is no specific element that has, a specific importance. Okay, say let me talk about the paint of a building, or sorry, an interior space of a building. When you use red paint for interior building, it will tend to give a personality, and it tends to make the person in that building angry. And say, for instance, you use neon as your paint in that building, it will bring about anxiety. But when you have a space and maybe you use white, let me use for me as example. In an office space, I prefer using white because of the kind of personality I am. I want a plain background so that I can imagine, that plain background is like
Like a
a
white
paper
canvas.
exactly. So what I do is I just paint a picture on that background. I tend to be creative. I tend to, be calm in that environment. Then for other spaces, you don't use too many bright colors. Then again, a particular space, it fits a particular element or space fits a personality. What you like may not be what I like. Some people come to environment and they see all white and they are irritated. So I would say there is no specific elements that should stand out. Everything is important.
So can small design changes make noticeable difference in someone's life?
Of course, of course. Let's say you have a specific arrangement of a chair in a living room. The way you position that chair the next time you come can make a vital change, because maybe the person living there didn't know that the chair was facing the sun and was radiating. There's a way you position your chair and your TV, and you won't be seeing the TV very well because of the sun radiating on the TV. But when you position it very, very well and then keep your chair facing the TV and the sun radiating in a different direction, you'll notice a very different change. You'll even be more comfortable and you will not even know you're comfortable.
I actually agree with that because I have a personal experience around that line. While I was in school, my own bed actually was facing outside. So sleeping in the evening when people are returning from classes is always a little bit uncomfortable. But I discovered that I sleep better in my friend's bed. And that is because our own bed was a little hidden. The lighting was not too bright. So it was comfortable. I think now that I think about it, I think it was the arrangement of my own bed. So from personal experience, can you give us some examples of this design how it transforms someone's life through these little changes that people can make in their own space?
Okay, so there was a situation that happened, when elderly people get old. Some of their children tend to take them to elderly homes so that other people will be able to take care of them because they are busy. So at this point in time, this lady was taken to an elderly home, but she wasn't comfortable at the whole scenario because she was already used to her house. So what the architect did in this case was to go to the house where she was comfortable with, try to see, what made her comfortable, the paint of the room, the paints where everything is positioned, and then came and had a conversation with her. So what the architect was trying to do was familiarize himself with the person and also add, to what that person likes. For example, if that room was painted maybe green, she would ask the lady, do you like that green, or what is your favorite color?
Color.
So before you know it, he merged everything together and changed that home to fit her personality, the paint, and even introduced, okay, since she was aged, introduced smart home devices. So the room was not just habitable, it was comfortable.
It felt
She
like
doesn't,
home.
yes, she doesn't need to even stand up or to do anything. He designed with her in it, not her out of the room.
Yeah.
Yeah, the home was designed with her in mind.
Yes.
A home that serves a
Can I add to
purpose.
that?
Yes,
Can I add to
yes,
that? All right.
please.
So I just wanted to add that. See, every design is actually bespoke in a sense. What do I mean? I mean every design is tailored to suit every individual,
Yeah.
and everyone has a specific need. Everyone has a particular lifestyle. You cannot compare the lifestyle of a doctor with the lifestyle of an architect or an engineer. Everyone has their lifestyles, and everyone has a way they want their space to be like,
Yeah.
and that's why we call it home. And on a general note, so there are other things that we also consider when we design. Let's take, for instance, a public building like a church or a hall. We would definitely design a hall to have a higher headroom. Why? Because we have a higher number of people in the building, and at the same time, the airflow matters a lot.
Yeah.
And even in a church, if you enter a church building, you realize that the headroom is so high, it will create a sense of the mightiness of God, creating a sense of spirituality. You look, no matter how high ranked you are in the society, when you come into that space, you see yourself very little in a big space.
Yes.
So it creates that psychology of humility in you, making you to focus on why you came. So every building is designed to suit a need, but at the same time, as professionals, we try to make them functional in such a way that it doesn't just help your lifestyle, it helps you to create the kind of right living. Now, that value that you want to gain out of life. And that's how we design when it comes to function.
So I think that brings us to functionality in home designs because we have a lot of things that people are bringing into their homes now. In this case, I would like us to talk about the functionality in the home, especially for people who work remotely or people that live in a multi-use space.
Okay, so I would like to emphasize in the on the kitchen space. People tend to, overlook the arrangement of, the kitchen cabinets, is position of the sink, position of the gas cooker. Now, in architecture, there is what they call the triangle arrangement of kitchen. The sink in the middle, the fridge left, and the gas cooker right. Reason being that you take whatever you need from the fridge to the sink, then you cook, and then back to the fridge. So imagine if the cook is in the gas cooker is in the middle. You take the fridge, and then maybe somebody is in the middle of the whole thing. You guys boom. Then sometimes you see people having pains in their body, unnecessary pains. It's not because of the village people. It's just that you're twisting wrong. You're not moving the way you're supposed to move. You're supposed to move in a triangle direction in the kitchen. That's just one of it. I don't know if you
Yeah,
can
yeah.
add to
So
that.
talking about, let me build from that. So talking about the flow of every design. Every design should flow. Talking about flowing from your public space to your semi-private space to your private space. If there is a disruption in that arrangement, most times, like you said, you will have unnecessary pain that you don't even know where it comes from. And when you talk about functionality, it has to do with everything. Your door positioning, as little as your furniture arrangement. Like you said, for remote workers, a remote worker should not have a desk facing a very clustered wall or clustered space where you're not very clear, you're just facing the wall, your lighting is bad, and you're working remotely. It will affect your mood, affect your productivity. Probably you need to just move your desk somewhere close to the window where you can have a feel of nature as you're working. You can see what is going on in nature, or probably bring nature into your home. Get a flower vase, get something natural, bring them into your space. Have a feel of nature. It has a way of healing.
Feel of
Nature
outside.
heals. Nature heals. Ventilation matters.
Does.
Talking about ventilation, you need ventilation in your space. And natural, don't underestimate the power of natural light. Natural lighting has a lot to do compared to artificial. In fact, a lot of people would prefer to have natural lighting in their home. Because forget about, okay, I'm spending a lot of power. When you have a natural light, it creates this sense of nature, airflow, natural. You are more you think better when you're in natural space, and it helps you psychologically. So
And
that's functionality.
okay, and if I want to add, there's something that people always omit. It's what they call zoning.
Okay.
Not just zoning the site, zoning in a particular apartment. You have the quiet zone
Usually
and you
for
have your
remote
noisy
workers.
zone. So imagine your quiet zone is actually your bedroom and the noisy zone is actually the living room. But when you position that living room also matters. Sometimes people tend to position their bedroom close to the road. Cars are passing, they are the ones that actually wake you up in the morning. So it's always advisable you position your living room to a noisy area, which is the road, and then take your bedroom
So quiet.
behind. Yeah, that's way it's functional, really healthier.
Yeah, I think I read it somewhere too that when you're feeling moody or you're feeling this sense of feeling low, you should go outside and get sun. So imagine the natural lighting coming into your home.
Yeah.
I think you will feel better
Yeah.
truly. So what are those smart decisions of design that improve day-to-day lifestyle?
Yeah, we we need to really consider that because we are in a smart generation, but I'm sorry to say sometimes we are not smart in our decisions.
Hmm.
In terms of
Deep.
we look less on nature and we look more to the artificial things that don't give healing. And of course, when we talk about smart homes, it's not just having smart everything. We can also have things that are not really smart, but even if they are digital, but they enhance our lifestyle in a way. They help us to be able to walk around, exercise your body, move around in your home, have a gym in your home or something like that. So these are smart decisions that we can make. And also talking about bringing in this greenhouse, greenhouse homes, talking about the smart energy that we use, green energy now, talking about using of solar in your home, it really helps to reduce the dependence on, generators that can even bring global effect and all that. So these are also smart decisions that we can take in our generation.
Thank you very much. That is very that's insightful. So, talking about home designs, because we have different trends coming in now. We have people picking up designs even from Pinterest. You just see something that a white woman is doing with a small space, and you bring it into in Nigeria, like this open kitchen that people are doing now. How sustainable is something like that in Nigeria? So, we are talking about trends. Are there these design trends that actually improve living experience and not just they don't just look good on Instagram. I'm talking about designs that actually help people and give them good living experience, improve their lifestyle, stuff like that.
Yeah. We have designs that actually helps. Like you were talking about the open kitchen. One of the disadvantages of having that is that looking at our weather in this part of the world, it might really not be encouraged because for you to have an open kitchen, it means you are generating heat in your living space. And the reason why they have it there in the Western world is because of their weather. They have a much colder weather, so they need something that can warm up the space. So for us here, you have to spend a lot on having an extractor in your kitchen. Every time you are working, your extractor must be at work, or else the whole place will be stuffy. So that's really not going to be very good. And we need to pay attention to ventilation these days. Most of our designs that we have in this contemporary age, sorry to say, you will see very narrow windows, very narrow just to create an aesthetical value, but not really a functional value. So we need to introduce more of wider ventilation, cross ventilations, wider windows, casement windows, less of sliding. Because a sliding window actually has divided your hair by half
By half.
already. So we need to introduce more of wider windows, natural lighting in the space, less of darker spaces that can help, to enhance our living in our home. So I think those are some of the
So,
things.
Mr. Eno, do you want to add to that? Well, we should talk about trends that does more harm than good.
Okay, trends that does more harm than good are just like you said, the narrow windows. I'm pretty sure you've seen buildings with very narrow windows, and it looks aesthetically appealing on the outside. But the question is, what happens to the inside? So this is what happens when you have narrow windows. You have less ventilation, and you use more energy because your rooms will be dark. And anyway, I would advise in that case, if you want to use a narrow window, make sure your windows are longer.
Yeah.
Reason being that air cannot come one direction and go that same direction.
True.
So when you make your window longer, you have air go out, the cold air go in one direction, and then hot air goes on the top. So I'd advise it's still okay, but I'd advise people go for wider windows because in that way, like for example in Lagos, we are managing land. So when you have narrow windows in that kind of area, you won't achieve ventilation at its highest peak. So when you have bigger, wider windows, you tend to have a ventilation more in that room.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. So, In a situation like that, how do you balance style? Because I think style is personal. What I
Mhm.
like in my home, how I want my home designed, it might not be the exact way you want your home designed. So, how do you balance individual style and long term comfort and use?
Yeah, so like you said, everyone has a lifestyle. Everyone wants their space to be in a particular way. Aside the fundamental things that we've mentioned, talking about ventilation, talking about
Natural
traffic in your
lighting.
home, natural lighting, these things are basic. You know, in as much as we want that life, these are things that will help your lifestyle. So you shouldn't, as a person, fight those basic things because one of the principles of architecture is form follow function. Your form should follow your functions.
Okay.
Talking about, okay, no matter how your lifestyle is, it should be first of all the functional spaces,
Yes.
then the forms will follow. So I feel basically what architects do or what planners do is to make sure you have a functional space first, and then you can bring form into it. So your form talks about your lifestyle, where you want, how you want your sofa to look like. So people don't want bulgy sofas; they want very simple sofas. How you want your dining space to look like. Maybe you have a larger family, so definitely you need a larger table, in larger dining space for your family. You need a larger room or something like that. You are the kind of person that wants a bigger room. So people prefer their rooms to be bigger than the living room. They want a very big room space because they want to be able to move around in their room without coming out of the room. So depending on your lifestyle, there is a way we design basically first to be a functional space, and then the form follows your lifestyle. Your lifestyle can be the lifestyle of an artist. Most artists, you will see them having nature. You will see the kind of what do you call it now, wall collage that they have in their room. They have artistic figures in their rooms. They have artistic figure in their living room. So all these things are very incorporated in our designs, but that we will have to follow functions to make sure you improve your lifestyle.
I want to add to that.
Yes, to add to what he said, I want to cite like an example of what happened. So there was a task that was back in school anyway. There was a task to design. It was a test to design for a family that were 7 foot tall. Is our doors are a bit lower than 7 foot.
So,
So in this case, what do you do to design that lifestyle to fit those people? You can't have the regular doors in that house. You have to make sure that all those doors are higher or taller than the people living. As a matter of fact, the father, the mother, the children, they were all tall people. If they want to live in this regular house, all of them have to bend their head
to
to
pass.
enter the house. So what you do now is make sure that the houses are functional, meaning that the doors will be taller
Bedroom,
than the normal ceiling. Even the ceiling too, the headroom needs to be taller. So that's a lifestyle that we have to consider first before any other thing.
I think I would like to add to that that a lot of families, maybe a couple that are just starting out their life, when they are expecting a child, you discover that a lot of them start trying to secure the space to make it baby safe. I should put it like that because they've put a table with sharp edges, cabinets that are not well pinned to the wall and stuff like that. At the end of the day, they tend to spend even more trying to reconstruct that space to accommodate the baby. So I think it would be good for people to look into that, especially people that are thinking long term
Exactly.
for family use.
Exactly.
Thank you very
Important.
much. So I noticed the new trend, and that is the minimalist trend. A lot of people want to go minimal, even when they don't want it. So, do you think a minimalist space means a calmer mind, or does it mean it makes our space more calming and more artistically pleasing?
Well, before I answer that question, I'll also add that it's an opinion for me. And just like I always say, every design fits a personality differently. I might look at the space first and tell you that, okay, this certain design would fit here. Let me say example. Minimalist design is just basically, okay, just as it is, literally, if a layman wants to explain it, I would say minimal, not too much. Let me use the word bobo tibo, not too much. So, but then again, as an architect, if you approach me and say I want a design that will fit this environment, for example, there are all green rocks around that place, I'll say okay, go for a minimal design so that it will complement the environment. And then if you then have a design, I'll tell you go for a brutalist design. But doesn't mean that I'm right. And also doesn't mean that I'm wrong. It's just the situation at that point in time. A lot of things come to play. Either the climate, the personality of that person, is that the person is running on low budget or high budget luxury. So a lot of things come to play. So I wouldn't say that this is the right answer or this is the wrong answer. It just depends on a personality. Yes.
Right. Can I add to that?
Yeah, please.
All right. So, our culture and our background has never really been a minimalist approach kind of culture.
True, true.
We have our forefathers who are very complex in their ideologies. When you see a palace of those days,
Extravagance.
very extravagant. They want to depict power.
Yes.
They want to depict dominion. So when you go there, you will see that it's very complex. A lot of elements trying to depict who they are. But we are in a generation where we have passed some of those stages where
Yes. Yes.
we don't take life from being big on the outside. Now we want to be big on the inside. We want to improve our lifestyle, not necessarily the things around us. So minimalist talks about a principle of architecture that has to do with less is more. Having less, but speaking volume. So it's not about accumulating so much and then the content is so, vague and it's not so quality. So less is more talks about quality chair, quality furniture, quality painting, quality space, but less. Less of things around. You understand? Less of complexity. Clean and sharp spaces, straight walls, not, architecture is about majorly vertical, although we have principles of architecture that goes into other complex architecture, but on a natural sense of it, it's just to, like we were saying, we are improving well-being. When you have a complex space, your mind tends to see a lot. And when your mind tends to see a lot, your mind tends to think a lot. And when your mind thinks a lot, then you focus less on what you should do per time. So I think this affects our lifestyle. When we focus less, we are unable to do things according to priority. Understand? We are not able to place things based on priority. So this is what we are bringing in that, okay, if you are a minimalist, it helps you to focus. Especially like we're talking about remote workers now.
Yes.
They want to be focused at home. You want to. So definitely a minimalist design will be a better advice for such a person. So
Yeah.
I think
that is very true. So I think this brings us to personalized design, things that fits individual behavior and outlook on life. How can homeowners create a space that reflects their lifestyle? You dig on someone saying habits or personality, because if you're looking at it, our forefathers, like you say, when you enter some homes, you find some people wanting to hang lion's head in their home, and then these golden chairs and stuff. So, how do you think we can design a space that fits someone's personal lifestyle and at the same time pronounce their personality?
Yeah. So every space, like we said, we have categories. We have luxury designs. We have basic, So everyone, based on their lifestyle, actually we can design to suit whatever lifestyle they want. But like I said earlier, functional spaces. As much as we want to suit your lifestyle, we will not design something that is not functional or something that will cause harm. Like you were saying, talking about the kitchen arrangement. So no matter how your lifestyle will be, you should not create a chaotic lifestyle that would create accidents or create a tendency for you to fall into dangers. So we want to reduce risk. We want to help your life to grow. We want you to live more or longer without chaos or blaming the architect or blaming the environment for whatever it is that happens to you. So that is what we're trying to create. And definitely, luxury has a way of bringing in quality lifestyle.
Sure.
Quality lifestyle in terms of smart homes. So beyond the forefathers having all those things, if they had smartness to their homes, it would have helped a lot too. It would have helped them in their kitchens, extractors, remote controls, automatic gates. All these things fit together to create this luxury lifestyle that we
So,
talk about. Yes.
so I think we have different things that actually influence who we are and how we see life and how we even behave. Talking about personalized space, what role do you think culture, family structure, play in house design?
Yeah, it actually plays a lot because we are cultural people. We have traditions, and these things cannot be um, outlook. We have to find a way to blend them into whatever architecture we have because even right from time we do Yoruba architecture, Hausa architecture, Igbo architecture. Everyone has something unique about their culture. And for a Yoruba man like me, one of the things that is unique about the Yoruba man is we are known for we socialize a lot, and definitely in my house I would expect a lot of visitors. So my compound must be very big enough, wide enough to accommodate as much people as possible. I can do a small wedding or a small party in my house.
Compound.
My living room must be very,
Spacious.
spacious, wide, and all that. I have enough of furniture there that can accommodate a lot of people. So this is our lifestyle. I know an Hausa man is, they are more cultural in terms of their gender. They are very gender sensitive.
Yeah.
So the man of the house has a space of his own. The wife or wives have their own spaces. That's the kind of design that we do for them to have their own unique spaces. That's their own lifestyle. An Igbo man wants the luxury. They have this, they want to express luxury. I don't know if it's because of the emancipation of slavery, but they want to just express luxury and show how rich they are. So you see a lot of complexity in their designs. They want to have plenty rooms. They want to have a lot of rooms. They want to have big sitting living areas. So if you can do that for them, they are very happy. I think that's how it affects who we are as a person and our
Would you like
spaces.
to add to that?
Okay, so let me talk more on the exterior part of it. For let me do the Yoruba. No, let me do the Hausa and the Igbo. For the Hausa, you tend to notice they are big on privacy. Hausa design, you don't go into the main house. You can never do that. They would have most of the times, if it's the old designs, they put a visitors rooms with cattles where they are first before you go to the main room. So, but in modern design now, you would have sometimes three parlors. You go to the waiting room before you can now be ushered into the parlor, meaning welcome. Then that after that parlor, you will now have another parlor
Private
where a private, that one you cannot
Very
enter.
lounge.
So waiting room is different from the other room, and their designs are usually very simple, straightforward, and with the logo, with the Arewa logo on it. Then moving to the southern part of Nigeria, you tend to see hip roofs. A typical Igbo man, I don't, with my experience, a typical Igbo man, they don't like flat roofs. You must make sure it's hip roof, it must be elegant, it must be luxurious, and they tend to like classical
Architecture.
architecture. And a typical Igbo man will not build where he's staying, he will build in the village first. And usually, all their houses in the village are always classical, always have this, exposed roof, not, a flat roof. So, culture, it plays a very, very big role in design.
As a professional, what are the affordable changes that you can advise our audience on how to improve their own?
Okay, first thing first, the most important thing is always meet a professional to give you an advice. So, but inside that, I would like to say if you have a budget, do not overshoot your budget. You don't necessarily have to buy new things or trending things to be able to have a comfortable home. A simple couch position that is changed can make your house very comfortable and look different. The color of paint you choose for a house can make things different. So just go for budget, seek for advice. An architect doesn't necessarily need to charge you for, oh, what should I do in this place? It's the best.
Would you like to add to
All right. So let me just wrap it up by saying Who are you as a person? You need to ask yourself, who am I? Know what you love. Tilt towards what you love. See how you can bring in happiness into your home and let your home work for you. I think that's
Oh,
it.
thank you very much. Thank you very much for this wonderful section. That's been quite insightful, educative, and in fact, entertaining. I think my own key takeaway is the fact that you need to really know yourself. You need to know what you want
Mhm.
and understand how your space actually makes you feel. I think we cannot overlook that. So, on this show today, we've actually discussed how our space makes us feel psychologically, physically, and mentally. So, two professionals, architect Enobong and architect Olawale, has told us a lot, shared their experiences on how this space can shape anyone's life. So we've come to the end of this show today, and I've enjoyed every bit of it. At Mshel Homes, we have different spaces, and we actually prioritize your needs as an individual and as our client. You can look through our properties and ask for the design, and in fact, ask for our own expertise on how you can improve your living space. So this is the end of the show for how your living space can affect your lifestyle as an individual. And my name is Awa from Michelle's Limited. Catch you on the next one.